Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for your support. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. Eric H526, the moderators, thank you so very much. Eric, I don't know who started off the super chat, but I want to thank the person. If you could let me know who started that off, I just want to thank you very much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel. We're going to talk about the latest lawsuit against Alec Baldwin. We're also going to talk about the fact that he's being sued for $25 million for defamation, but also for allegedly or apparently telling a whole bunch of people on social media to go after a Gold Star family because he disagreed with them politically. So hit subscribe to my super chat. Thank you. I will have a segment every morning from now on. I had a live stream this morning. The stock market tanked this morning. So I will have another live stream around 5:30 a.m. this morning or so. So be there for the live stream this morning. It's going to be another terrible day, unfortunately. There's going to be a stock market crash. And I've been talking about that for a long time. Read my article in The Federalist. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start. Fallen Wyoming Marines family sues Alec Baldwin for $25 million. Let me just read you. You can see here the posts. You can see the posts that he wrote to one of the family members of this Marine. So let's just go ahead. You can see this right here. Hold on one second. So what happened was the following. He gave $5,000 to the sister and the widow of a fallen Marine, one of the 13 Americans who were courageous and brave and heroic and risked their lives and gave their lives to defend this country when we were exiting and ending America's longest-running counterinsurgency conflict, longest-running war, because Biden, people like Biden, voted, and the Lincoln Project, and the Bush Republicans, and the Democratic Party, everybody from Clinton to Biden to Kerry, voted to get us in there. Even Bernie did. In Afghanistan. That was 20 years ago. And it was Trump who negotiated the Doha Agreement. And so Trump negotiated a deal to get us out of Afghanistan. It was Biden who botched that and utilized the T-ban for security. Now, Alec Baldwin saw apparently he saw a GoFundMe page for one of the fallen Marines. He decided to give money to the family. He then realized, which is something he should have realized, that most veterans, most active duty, have conservative viewpoints or vote for Trump. That's according to all the exit polls, and that's according to almost every poll out there. Actually, every poll shows that the majority of soldiers and the majority of veterans, especially veterans, support President Trump. Now, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and he's like this narrow-minded, partisan political ideologue who ended someone's life because he was so reckless and incompetent. He didn't check the firearm himself. The armor was not in the church. It was an impromptu, unscheduled rehearsal, and instead of abiding by safety protocols, everything from the cloud video storage monitors that they had, the video monitors that were backed up on a cloud so everybody could see what was going on when actors were filming. That was not working that day. I mean, everything was just not working. The armor was not in the church. There was a protest of camera crew. And you have all of these problems that took, all these bizarre coincidences that took place. All of these bizarre coincidences took place. And he ended someone's life 18 inches away from the woman. "18 inches away from a female cinematographer, aiming at her midsection. And instead of being humble, apparently, he went after this Gold Star family after he had ended the woman's life." So I want to read you this. This is what he wrote when he found out that one of the Gold Star family members was in Washington in January. Because that's like Pearl Harbor that's like the Battle of Antietam to morally superior liberal Democrats. The botched withdrawal in Afghanistan with 13 Americans who lost their lives, they don't focus on that. They focus on this. Okay, January. So apparently, one of the family members of the fallen Marine who gave his life for this country, who should be alive today, those Americans should be alive today. Those Afghans should be alive today. The reason they're not alive is because Biden utilized the T-ban as security in the only airport that was left in that country. We were supposed to leave May 1st, and we didn't because Biden doesn't know what he's doing. Mashed potato brains just basically, I guess, does what he's told from Blinken or other people who also are incompetent and completely clueless. And so people say, like, really quickly, people say, well, why are you talking about this? You should talk about politics. Well, number one, there aren't many topics you can talk about on YouTube. Now, there's really not many topics you could talk about freely. And I try my best to give my opinion on everything. But this is a topic, thankfully, that, I mean, unfortunately, we can still talk about. So, thankfully, we could talk about certain topics that are tragic. But this is a topic that media doesn't want to address. I'm addressing it, and I know a lot of other people are, because media basically has ignored this. They don't want to come to terms with the fact that Alec Baldwin ended a woman's life in a reckless and incompetent manner. They don't want to admit that their political side is full of people like Alec Baldwin, Jussie Smollett, Michael Avenatti, Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, Zuman Tubin, Eric Schneiderman. They don't want to admit that. So they just don't want to admit that. And so you have a situation where you have this person who is completely losing it. So if he's not drawing really horrendous and insulting cartoons of someone yelling out, "Oh, I'm dying," which is exactly what his behavior led to months earlier. The woman literally lost her life because of Alec Baldwin. Then you have him focusing on the Holy Splenda packet. But this is what he writes as a private message. The private messages Alec Baldwin sent the fallen Marine's sister before throwing the family to social media mob. Your activities resulted in the unlawful destruction of government property. Like he cares. What was he saying about federal buildings and police departments being assaulted all throughout that summer in 2 years ago, in 2020? How many police buildings? About 3 were set ablaze. How many federal buildings? Numerous ones. How much in property damage? About $1 to $2 billion. And they say, oh, well, that's different. Well, yeah, it's different because they derived some kind of political utility from that. Democrats did. They kept saying fiery but peaceful. You have CNN journalists with a building set ablaze behind the CNN journalist, and he said fiery but peaceful. They're completely clueless. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. Okay? So this is what he writes. Okay, this is what he writes. Lord, why is this so difficult? All right. Your activities resulted in the unlawful destruction of government property, loss of life, and that's terrible. But that wasn't exact. The loss of life of the officer didn't happen exactly because of what they initially claimed. But it was still terrible. But most of the 4 of the 5 people who lost their lives were supporters of President Trump. One woman lost her life unarmed. And again, it's not. You would think that they would care about an unarmed individual, a woman, losing her life. They don't. An assault on the certification, well, you know what? Several hours later, it was certified, and Democrats, it's like they're creating this. Most Americans, if you live by polls, most Americans don't even either know or care. If you told them about that fateful day in January, they wouldn't even know the date. So Alec Baldwin is not focused on the withdrawal where 13 Americans lost their lives and 169 Afghans lost their lives. I reposted your photo. Good luck. I reposted your photo. Good luck. Then he writes, when I sent you the money for your late brother out of a real respect for his service to our country, I didn't know you were a January. It's like unbelievable. It's right here. So I don't know if you could see this. So it's like here. This part, when I sent you the money for your out of real respect for the service of our country, I didn't know you were January 6th, and then he uses a word that this woman was not. She already was interviewed by the FBI. She didn't do anything wrong. And Alec Baldwin, in usual, typical, apoplectic, hysterical, manic behavior, he just assumes that because she was there in January, that she had to have done something illegal. Of course, if she had been committing crimes all throughout that summer, you better believe Alec Baldwin wouldn't have said a thing. And so he gives the donation and then reposts her photo. And he reposts her photo according to if this DM is accurate on Instagram. And so, I mean, it's like, I reposted your photo. What was the point of that? Haven't you done enough damage? Haven't you done enough damage to people? My God, you're reposting people's photos so that they could get threats on their life. A Gold Star family hasn't suffered enough from Biden's incompetence, from the incompetence of Democrats, the absolute reckless, incompetent behavior, clueless behavior, and foreign policy of Democrats. This didn't happen under Trump. This did not happen. And 13 Americans and 169 Afghans didn't lose their lives under Trump because of a complete diplomatic and foreign policy debacle. No, that happened under Biden's watch. And there's some people saying, well, you know, he's never going to be charged with a crime. It's like, okay, so if he's not, then what does that mean? That you don't want to know anything like horrible, any other horrible thing he's done? Every day in the news, there's something this man is accused of, or there's something this man has to now battle in court. This guy lives on social media. I don't have Twitter. I haven't had Twitter for 3 to 4 years. I haven't had Facebook for 3 to 4 years. I've never had an Instagram account. I never had any of the social media apps. I've only had YouTube. This man lives on social media, and he's always out there giving his 2 cents on anything political. It's always a polarized viewpoint. And now his social media posts, I mean, especially, we can go here. I mean, this is the same man. This is the same man who is now posting very, very bizarre and frightening drawings. Does this make any sense to you? So before we get to reading about the lawsuit, and by the way, to the person who started off the super chat, thank you. I don't know. I want to thank the person, but I don't know. I can't see originally who gave the super chat. But to my super chat, thank you. But here you have, I mean, oh God, please help me, I'm dying. The man has this fascination. Like, everything he touches, he ruins in some respect. He gives a Gold Star family $5,000 and then promptly sends a digital mob their way, according to this latest lawsuit. Oh, okay. Paul Bartlett, thank you so very much, Paul. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for starting it off. I really appreciate it, Paul. Everyone, if you're up at around 5:30 a.m. Pacific, right before the market starts trading, or at 6 a.m. Pacific, it starts 6:30. There's going to be a devastating stock market crash. I wrote about it in the Federalist. You can read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, other publications on hagoodman.com. But if you're up 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. Pacific, be on this channel. I will have another live stream about the impact. I believe Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. But here you have the finger, the pontificating, the judgment, the condemnation. When did these morally superior liberal Democrats, and believe me, I used to be one. I was never morally superior, though. I was never felt that I was morally superior. I didn't view condemnation as some kind of spiritual sustenance. Okay? But I was a liberal. I understand. I was a liberal Democrat, but it wasn't who I am. It wasn't who I was. Sorry. So you vote for President Trump because you want a great economy, because you want a great foreign policy, okay? Because you don't want the economy to economic activity to end because a bunch of apoplectic, hysterical experts said, oh, that has to happen. And then they focus and they stress and they're paranoid about the same issue 2 years later. All right? They say Trump is an authoritarian. He's the antithesis of an authoritarian. You'd have to be a complete imbecile. You'd have to be completely ignorant of politics and basic logic. Authoritarians don't get investigated by political operatives in their own government who side with the opposing political party. That's the antithesis of an authoritarian. Okay? Thank you, Eric. I mean, but here you have a person. What is the point? Really quickly, what is he trying? Does he really think? Does he really think that January is like? Thank you, Eric. By the way, thank you. Does he really think that January is, similar to the Battle of Antietam? Um, the Pearl Harbor. I mean, I get it. I get that, like, if you said to them, well, what happened on August 26th? What happened on August 26th, 2021? They wouldn't know. But definitely the 6th of January, it's like ingrained in their mind. Why? Because Rachel Maddow and Chris Cuomo and others, he's no longer there, but it's like they need these myths. Okay? A woman lost her life. She was unarmed. They don't care. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. And they spent a whole summer forcing lockdowns, or I should say, forcing a whole summer forcing curfews in major cities because of $1 to $2 billion in property damage. And then you have one political intelligence agency that Ted Cruz was talking to that was grilling in Congress, asking very simple questions. How many agents were there from the Federal Bureau of Investigation? They couldn't answer because they're almost certainly, because they were there. Okay? Because they were there. And nobody condones I don't condone what happened on January 6th. That's terrible, horrible, should never have happened. You think Democrats would condemn every single day that took place in the summer? No, they'll say, well, it was for a good purpose. Even the road to you-know-where is paved with good intentions. I agree that it should be an end to brutality. I understand that. I support law enforcement, but I agree there should be an end to police brutality. I understand that. But at the same time, you don't cause $1 to $2 billion in property damage and then blame Trump for things that they said, oh, he cleared Lafayette Square. That was a complete fake news story. That never happened. He's an authoritarian. He was trying to take a picture with a Bible. Well, that never happened in the manner they said. He never said both sides in the manner that they claimed. He wasn't trying to praise. He said horrible people. They should be condemned numerous times. That day he used the word peaceful. That's why he hasn't been charged with sedition. I think one person has. And the reason they'll never charge Trump is because very likely intelligence operatives were there that day. Very likely, almost certainly. But I mean, you have this article right here, so we'll read this. Let's read this. Hold on one second. Family of Wyoming Marine who lost his life in Afghanistan suing Alec Baldwin for defamation, privacy invasion. Okay. Let's see if I can minimize this a little bit. The sister and widow of a Wyoming Marine who lost his life in Afghanistan, who should be alive today were it not for Biden's absolute incompetence. The Doha Agreement said, get out by May 1st. This is not rocket science, but of course everything is rocket science. Getting out of a room is rocket science for mashed potato brains. The sisters and widow of a Wyoming Marine who lost his life in Afghanistan are suing Alec Baldwin in federal court, alleging the actor defamed them on his social media after he learned one of the sisters attended a demonstration in Washington. Riley McCollum, a 20-year-old Marine from outside of Jackson, was one of 13 American troops and more than 100 Afghans whose lives were ended in August directly because of Biden's decision making. Okay? After hearing the news of the Marines, of the loss of life, Baldwin found one of the Marine sisters on Instagram and sent her a $5,000 donation to go towards his widow and their child born less than a month after the loss of his life. Then this month, meaning January of 2022, meaning from what I understand, this month, this is after he ended the cinematographer's life. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty... Janet! You give us hope. Janet McGuffey, thank you! To my super chat, thank you. Thank you, Janet. Janet McGuffey, thank you so very much. Thank you. So, this month, are you serious? This month? Is this, I mean, if this is the case, Jeanette Cole! Jeanette, thank you so much. Thank you, Jeanette. And people sometimes say, like, he's HA when he goes and he's talking, and then the super chat comes in, and then he says hi and thank you, and then he keeps on interrupting himself. It's like, you know what? If you're gonna spend time to give me a super chat in this terrible economy, when we're about to have a stock market crash, so subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. Be here today or tomorrow morning, depending on your time zone. It could be this morning, tomorrow morning, for the live stream. I'll have a live stream at like 5:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. Pacific. But I'm going to thank you. So, Jeanette, thank you so very much. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. But, I mean, do my eyes deceive me? Do my eyes deceive me? Is this Jeanette and Janet, thank you so much. And Paul, thank you as always, Paul. Do my eyes deceive me this month? Was it, maybe he had too much Splenda. Maybe he maybe he was drowning in Splenda and it affected his ability to reason. This month, Baldwin accused the sister of the Marine of participating in January, reposting her pictures of demonstrations that day to his account that allegedly caused the sisters and the widow to receive harmful messages, including threats on their life. Are you kidding me? This man did this after ending a cinematographer's life. This man is like a lawyer's nightmare. Are you kidding me? How is that even possible that this month he doesn't have anything to do? Like, he must really believe there is no way he gets criminal charges, and if he gets criminal charges, he could care less. He doesn't care. This is his world. He doesn't care. He found the Holy Splenda packet. People are giving him Splenda packets where, he's really writing them himself like a madman, almost certainly. And he's, drawing cryptic, frightening, absolutely frightening, and horrifying drawings. The man ends someone's life, then he's making drawings, then going after Gold Star families. Jeanette, thank you again. Janet, thank you. Paul, thank you. Does this make any sense to anyone? It's so bizarre. Thank you. Money, thank you. And so the thing is, like, it's just really, it's really unbelievable. You have this man who's he has this morbid fascination with a life ending. Let's just put it that way. Oh God, please help me, I'm dying in his cartoons. This is months after he ends someone's life. 2 feet away from the cinematographer. If he gets away with criminal charges, he'll be the Harry Houdini of Hollywood criminality. And then he gives money to, like, he does a good deed, and then promptly turns it into a debacle. Like, the $5,000 wasn't worth the pain, the frustration. I mean, they always said, oh, Trump, he's going after people who were suffering. And it's like, this is a Gold Star family that Alec Baldwin went after. I mean, you have to be kidding me. Most of the country does not look at January in the way that morally superior liberal Democrats do. They don't think it's Pearl Harbor. They think that the August 26th is infinitely worse. Oh, that's different, according to Democrats. Where were all these liberal Democrats protesting? They weren't anywhere to be found in the summer of 2020. They weren't anywhere to be found, the hypocrites. Especially the liberal Democratic pundits. Nowhere to be found. And so we'll continue this month. How he has time. So he lost his Splenda packet because he's so overwhelmed. Like, this is what I don't... This is getting every single day. I mean, the Splenda packet, then the bizarre drawings, then we find out he's going after a Gold Star family. This is after he ended someone's life. He's like not only a train wreck, he's like this cyclone, this like tornado of like bad karma and, reckless behavior. What's next? What's next? Is he going to, clothesline Santa Claus and take the, Easter Bunny hostage? I don't know. What's next? What more can this man do? I mean, it's unbelievable. What more can he do? Janet, thank you so much. And we're not even getting to the lawsuit from the husband of the cinematographer. Ricardo, hello. Probably. That happy face is so bizarre. This month, Baldwin accused one of the Gold Star family members of participating, in reposting her pictures. Now the women are suing Baldwin $25 million, nearly half of his apparent net worth. On January 1st, one of the family members posted images on Instagram showing demonstrators in D.C. The suit states she did not participate in any illegal activity and has been cleared after an interview with the FBI. But even if she had, which she didn't, it's not Alec Baldwin's, you can't, this is the problem also. I've seen this with morally superior liberal Democrats. Many of them are atheists, which is fine. They're, atheist or religious person, you can it doesn't matter what you believe. You can always do moral and good and kind and, wonderful gestures and acts and deeds. But you find this more so with atheists who are also fervent ideologues in terms of politics. They replace a belief in God and religion with politics. They trust without any scrutiny government officials. Only the government officials that side with them, their political party, the political party, the Democratic Party is exactly who Democrats are, like who they are spiritually, who they are. Like they say that about Trump, but that's not the case. Most Trump supporters would not vote Republican if Marco Rubio or Liz Cheney became, nominee. Democrats would vote Democrat if Marco Rubio and Liz Cheney were the Democratic nominee. It's complete. They're the ones in the cult. They're the ideologues. Of course, you have some ideologues on the right. That's true. But the people who are part of, like the people who cannot differentiate between politics and like spirituality or morality, the people who can't differentiate, those are the people on like Alec Baldwin. So instead of simply saying, oh, okay, like $5,000 to him, he could wipe his rear end with that. He doesn't care. Okay. What does it matter if he gave money to a family and one of the people in the family were there in January? Who cares? Who cares? That doesn't, nothing the family did demonstrating, takes anything away from the heroism and the bravery and the honor and the dignity and just the heroic act of that Marine risking and then giving his life for this country. But the way Alec Baldwin sees it is, well, you know what? I would never have given money to this family, to this child who won't grow up with a father because of Biden botching the withdrawal, to this beautiful, wonderful family in Wyoming who, without families like this family, this country would not survive. And he can't draw a line saying, okay, politics, I disagree with their politics, but I'm going to help that family. Because their child has nothing to do with my political viewpoints or my condemnation of an opposing political view. So then he goes, your activities resulted in the unlawful destruction. There was $1 to $2 billion, Mr. Baldwin. $1 to $2 billion in property damage. You said nothing. These hypocrites are unbelievable. Unbelievable. $1 to $2 billion. And honestly, I think someone is losing their sanity. I'll leave it at that. Someone is actually losing their sanity. Someone is actually losing their sanity. Look, I understand, I know the Alec Baldwin mentality because I know people like Alec Baldwin. I know people who are they don't believe in a higher being. They don't believe in religion. Their religion is MSNBC, CNN, what their friends think. I've had people yell at me, your friends don't agree with you. And I'm like, yeah, but perhaps most of my former friends didn't agree with me. Who cares? Why would I care? First of all, why would I care what my friends think politically? Politics is a small part of life. If I talk about it because that's my job on YouTube, okay, but that's not who I am as a human being. I'm not like the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. I think Trump is amazing, but it's not who I am. If President Trump said, oh, I'm going to get Bill Kristol or Lincoln Project people to give my foreign policy from here on out, I wouldn't vote for Trump. It's like they try to, it's actually everything they do is projection. Look at Russia now, about to invade Ukraine. You think Russia cared about Biden of all people? You think Biden scares or frightens anyone? The only people he frightens are like The people most concerned with Biden, mashed potato brains, are people looking at him saying, please, I hope he could just, have a good day and have a good breakfast and relax during the day and everything's fine, Give him a good, nice little, warm milk and have a good night, tuck him into bed and then have a good, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Who do you think would win in a battle of wits between Putin or Z and mashed potato brains Biden? Okay? It would be like a semi-truck versus a Prius, with mashed potato being the Prius. It would be like Mike Tyson versus Jerry Nadler. Who do you think would win in a battle of intellect? It would be like, look, I know this mentality, and it's so sad too, because like nobody really cares at all what a person like Alec Baldwin thinks of their politics. But they have a platform. They have social media algorithms. They have all of Hollywood. They have most, and you still, 73 million Americans, half of the electorate, still say nah. So it's just unbelievable how he's going to lecture a Gold Star family after he ended someone's life. This is truly the mark of the greatest narcissist, one of the greatest narcissists you've ever seen in your life. Your activities resulted in unlawful behavior. What about the unlawful? You should always, by the way, every argument with an ideologue on the left should be about whataboutism. They call it whataboutism, but it's actually called pointing out hypocrisy. When you say, what about what you did that's worse, that is relevant directly to the conversation, because they're always pontificating and preaching and condemning and judging. But they're doing so atop a platform of hypocrisy and disingenuous, dishonest behavior. You have to point that out. It's not going to change what their thought process. They don't really have a specific thought. It's only, look, every one of their arguments are appeals to authority and hysteria and emotion. Their argument is purely based on emotion. That fateful day in August is far more of a negative, horrendous, hurtful day than that fateful day in January. Even though that fateful day in January was horrible. Those people should be alive today. Those people should be alive, but the majority of people who lost their lives were supporters of Trump. So how they twisted into, like, it's just all public relations. It's all public relations. They think somehow it'll prevent Trump. Their lives revolve around preventing Trump from getting back to power. That's it. Their lives revolve around that. And then he said, exactly, he thought she fainted, he thought she had a heart attack, all of this nonsense. So, but here, I reposted your photo, good luck. My God. In Baldwin's repost of McComb's photos, he said that claims of nonviolent protests were, okay, that's not true at all. Of course they were nonviolent. If it was left-leaning people doing it, people would say fiery but peaceful, mostly peaceful. So it was mostly peaceful, and commented that truth is stranger than fiction. This is a man who lives within the fictitious world, the fictitious nightmarish world of his own mind, of his own Alice in Wonderland brain. In reference to seeing the photos, this is also what happened. You're talking about an aging Hollywood actor who already had an ego when he was younger. And now all his beliefs, like his belief system, they've become entrenched into his personality and into his spirit, into his soul. They're like they like he believes that half the country, he thinks that his political side will protect him in like at all times. But see, again, you have everybody from Eric Schneiderman to Michael Avenatti to Chris Cuomo to Andrew Cuomo. It's like at a certain point, your utility, Democrats, they look at somebody for their utility. That's why you're wrong, Dr. Rand. Once Democrats say, "Oh, okay, these people are not politically there's no political utility anymore. We can't utilize them for our, political gain." Then they either jettison them or allow them to just wallow in their own corrupt behavior or, their own sins, or when they get caught with their hands in the cookie jar or whatever. The suit states that the Gold Star family was quickly subjected to hostile, aggressive, and hateful messages and comments from Baldwin's 2.4 million followers. One message which she posted on her account is just unbelievable. 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 There are 600 to 700 more pages worth of posts. And so what is Alec Baldwin going to say? Well, it's not my fault. I have no, well, they are. I agree with you. I have no control of what, yeah, you do. When you post something to try to humiliate somebody, you're actually, there are internet laws against bullying. There are laws against bullying. You can't bully people. And again, like, doesn't he understand that it's a Gold Star family? They went after Trump, and I agree, President Trump shouldn't have gone back and forth with that Gold Star family in 2016. I agree with that. The Democrats and media made it out to be like this is even far more egregious. Trump didn't go on social media to tell his followers to disparage any Gold Star family. He just went back and forth, and then media sensationalized every interaction. Media sensation, and again, I think President Trump was wrong for that. There's nothing to be gained by always being so tough. And I think President Trump was wrong for that, but it wasn't nearly as egregious as what Baldwin did. You can't go ahead and repost photos to rabid, blind ideologues. These people are, if you had a debate with them, they couldn't even, all they would do is yell at the top of their lungs. They're like cult members. The Trump supporter is not the cult member. It's the Democrat or the far left ideologue. Because at the end of the day, you can never be left enough, or you can never be liberal or progressive or socialist or you can never be far left enough. There's always all they do every day is argue with one another on the left. You said this. No, you don't understand this political theory. You're actually not abiding by. It's like this religious. It happens with religions. You're not religious enough. No, I'm religious. Well, you're not understanding the text of the. It's like the same, but it happens on the left all the time. It happens probably more on the political left than it does in any religious setting. But like, Baldwin known for his, okay, so the suit calls for All right, so let's see. In the comments on the platform, the suit states Baldwin said at least twice and called them a word that they are not. This is unbelievable. This is to two Gold Star family members. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Really shook them beyond what they were, what they already were. While she says messages have slowed down, the three women are still receiving messages. Three women. So he not only ends a woman's life. This is Alec Baldwin. It's like the liberal Democrat, you know, tour of vicious behavior tour around the country. He's not stopping, ladies and gentlemen. He might stop in your town. It's Alec Baldwin. He ends a cinematographer's life accidentally by pulling the hammer back as if that absolves him of anything. He must be a complete imbecile. He basically is admitting he fired in the direction of a cinematographer without the armor there, and then blame the assistant director. And he shouldn't have been pulling back the hammer according to the armor. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And then he goes after three women, Gold Star family members, after their family member, a fallen Marine, was protecting this country and lost his life because of Biden's incompetence. One of the worst days in American history and political and diplomatic and military history. Makes the day in January look like, well, every other day that summer, which was pretty much every other day that summer. 25 lives were lost all throughout that summer, and $1 to $2 billion in property damage. How they can differentiate, how you're a morally superior liberal Democrats who can differentiate that day in August, or no, sorry, you can differentiate or draw a line or state that the average day of protesting in that summer was different from what took place in Washington. Lord, nobody knows. Nobody knows. You had media every so fiery but peaceful, mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful. They lie by omission. I think it's worth noting, too, that his social media following is 5 times the population of your state. Either he knew that would happen and he wanted it to happen, or he just didn't think about it. So there you go. And that pretty much sums up who Alec Baldwin is. Either he didn't think about the consequences of his actions. Either he didn't think about the consequences of his actions, or he did. And either way, either he didn't think about the consequences of his actions, or he just, wanted to harass those people who, by the way, were dealing with the same, you have a family that lost their life because Alec Baldwin ended the cinematographer's life. You have a Gold Star family grieving. And what's the common denominator here? Alec Baldwin is the cause of either the grief or further grief. It's pretty unbelievable. Exactly. Contrary Marge. Oh my God, it's true. The plaintiffs are calling for a jury trial in this case, which would determine the amount of any damages if awarded. Most cases, and so the thing is, if you go ahead and you're reposting images simply to prove a point on social media, to hurt people, Okay, that's bullying. There are already laws against that, and it's just it's like the man is just look at the man's losing. Someone's losing their marbles, people. Every day, it's like this slow descent into madness. He's losing his marbles. The man's losing his marbles. I mean, does this make any sense to you? He has no shame also because he's going after a Gold Star family. He ended the cinematographer's life, and since then he's been posting everything and anything you could ever imagine on social media in the most despicable, disrespectful manner. And he has no shame. And this is the man who is like, Trump is a danger to democracy. It's like, Trump never pointed at Colt 45 and ended someone's life. You did. It's just unbelievable. So Emily Miller, great journalist here, wrote exclusive. Let's see if she has. Wow. So let's see. Lawsuit against Alec Baldwin was filed Monday in U.S. District Court in Wyoming. An attorney said Baldwin is very conscious of what his celebrity will do, and he used all of his influence to attack a grieving family. What he did to satisfy his ego created a nightmare for them. Trump never did that. Trump never. Again, I agree. He shouldn't have gone back and forth with the Gold Star family. That was wrong of President Trump. He didn't do anything close to what Alec Baldwin allegedly did. Alec Baldwin knew exactly what he was doing. Um, this is the widow. He did it anyway. He holds himself on a very high pedestal and believes he can get away with anything. I just want him to know he can't get away with tearing people down. Unbelievable. That's what this is the thing. They said that about Trump, but really, the most vicious people are on the left. They really are. The most vicious, indignant, unpredictable, reckless people. I mean, you have a lot of them on the right, yes, but the ones who get away with the most are on the left because they have the system is geared from social media algorithms. Everything the system is geared towards their political sensibilities or their liberal sensibilities. He does. He keeps getting worse and more bizarre. It's really bizarre. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. Why is he doing this? So then he goes, so bizarre. Then he goes, then he's like he's always trying to teach these absurd lessons about morality. So this is the Gold Star family member saying, okay, this is exactly what he wanted. He messaged me directly and said, I shared your post. Good luck. This is exactly what he wanted. He knew was going to happen. Then Alec Baldwin, Baldwinista, right, goes, it's so bizarre. That is not true. He's always trying to teach people from the vantage point of apparently one of the greatest imbeciles we've ever seen in our lives. These are hateful things posted towards you. These are hateful things posted towards you that was wrong. Irony was my point. What do you mean, the irony of you going after a Gold Star family after you ended a woman's life? That irony? The morbid irony of you being the common link between grief that the two different families are experiencing. Lord knows what you did to get that Splenda packet, or to Lord knows how you fabricated the idea of a Splenda packet. Irony was my point. The irony of sincerely wanting to honor your brother and the fact that you are what? How is that irony? The use of words that mean the opposite of what you really think in order to be funny. Well, that's not the only definition of irony. And Merriam-Webster's, he goes, this is the best. He goes, this is like a high schooler. It is ironic that Alec Baldwin would want to condemn and judge a grieving family simply because of a political belief and the flawed idea, the inaccurate, false idea that they committed any illegal activity. False. He is going after a family either knowing that they didn't commit a crime or accusing them falsely of committing a crime, even though he committed a crime, almost certainly involuntary manslaughter. That's ironic. Who's that? Who's the singer? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like Alec Baldwin. They should do this the new ironic song. The irony of sincerely wanting to honor your brother, stop there. Why didn't he just, not make a big deal out of the money that he gave? Why didn't he just give the money and not make a deal, not make a big deal? It's big deal. So he gave money to the family of a fallen Marine, and one of the family members, or two of the family members, or I don't know exactly, maybe one, was there in January. So what? So what? It's not like, so what? How does that, if he wants to do a good deed, how does he conflate the two? So he has to let them know how disappointed he is or how immoral they are because he was trying to do a moral thing? This is unbelievable. There are charities and organizations that do good deeds for prisoners in prison. They don't then say, oh, but you know what? You committed this crime. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, they never even committed a crime. He was wrong about that. They have a right to protest. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you, everybody. Be here this morning at around 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. We will have a live stream this morning. Dow Futures. Let's look at Dow Futures really quickly. Dow Futures down around 193 points. Okay, hold on one second. Hold on. So NASDAQ down 124. So it's probably going to be, I think, ladies and gentlemen, and I've been saying we're going to have a devastating stock market crash. And I think, check out my live stream this morning and share it with anyone who has Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. back to 10,000. Everybody here, JG, Eric, everyone here, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I will be back in the morning around 5:30 or so a.m. Pacific time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have another terrible day in the market, and I think that we've already begun the stock market crash. It's going to be devastating. I wrote about it in the Federalist. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Eric, thank you. Everybody here, thanks so much. To my super chat, thank you. I'll see you about 5:30 a.m. Pacific.